All right, welcome back. Everybody feel good? Got enough tea? Great. I think what I would like us to do to start is to have 2 or 3 groups share what they did for their practice. And what would be, I think what would be useful is to have each group share what was your goal, what were you trying to teach, and what were your 3 activities, and how did they support that goal? I would like, sorry, go ahead. It would be nice to do everybody, but I just don't think we have time to have each group go through there. So we'll just do 2 or 3 and talk about those. There were some groups that said they had secret ones, and some groups that said they had secret ways to defeat Barcelona in soccer. So if there's a group that would like to share, and it's not too secret, it would be wonderful you could share with the group, and we can use that as sort of talking points to highlight outcome-based planning. Are there a couple groups that wouldn't mind sharing with the class?
The last one, 9.
Okay. Yeah.
Tene ta ngso ge tredo kare chhe la na ane ta chida ane cheri pa cham member chine ra ta nangchyo da tis gino yobe to ne ta tene chemi ba chi chede to dire tene ta mi de kande re sana tanda ngso ane kengwe chering talabe de kengwe chering la ki yo na ro labshi de kengwe chering che ta tene ane chishin de ta ane simjing ni bo de ni ra ane so de yimi ni ta la ra ta ane kare sana 당한서 안에 가르치는 지신대 안에 가르치는 거죠. 심진은 지진은 거죠. 될 아니 장경으로 전에 될 아니 딘데데 개체요 말때 이내야 딘데 지신대 안에 거죠. 심진은 수 필수 뚜르르 샤스라. 필수 뚜르 임바데 저 아니 네 가서 룩투스는 뭐다 될 아니 모두 쳐야 되지라. 저 아니 두자되지. 필수 뚜르 인단데 당한서 디미유 되지라. 아니 다 제고 가르쳐 줘야나 다단도 아니 지신기 아니 타봉되던 심진기 타봉이 보통 군일라 당보 아니 충돌지 전에 제례 간데 자송 간데도 따줘야지라 자동 치수기 균에 대따 줘야지 단 이바들라 아니 가르서는 아니 가서 심진기 돌아 아니 가르서나 아니 갈라왔다 가서 제와 제거다 잠바 제거다 저다 가서 다 당도 드럽게 터네 가서 렌투라 다 지신들라 가서 아니 콜라 아니 장경 전에 아니 살롱 간데 주무도 Tine tayadila kharachayasa na ngajo pene shungdong chikda nibadila ane kharachaya chikla yang chik chulu ane chik shiyato hingboto tangna tine chi jamgyong chene shayachiyo chikla tine mewa chene ane korangi salongla ane chungdangla kyabra khande dhodosini ta chego nibad tine peyachira ane tiyu kola ane sumba chego sumba dila ane mangi tola ane khande dila ane tiwado tangna ane dila dhoduri chechoyo ane te chego sumba dichi
their goal is to understand if there is that the goal is to understand the difference, also the interdependent nature of living things.
Okay.
2 big categories: plants and animals. And the first thing is they want to know the similarities, dissimilarities about the plant cells and animal cells, and they will observe that under the microscope. And the second thing is what are the effect of loving and compassion or the caring effort on the growth of animals and the plants. For instance, for animals, we know that the caring, support, love, and compassion is needed. For the plants, if we will test if a good environment, also like playing sweet songs, if they affect their growth as well. And for the third activity, they will have a survey, ask people about the understanding of the two different living things. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So it sounds like you wanted to teach the difference and similarities between plants and animals, and one activity was to look at them under the microscope. The other was to do a test on how compassion and loving kindness influences both plants and animals. And the other was to do a survey to understand people's opinions about plants and animals.
Samchenda Susengi, that Kurang Shag, that Tangi Banachitula Chitambing, the water, the name Banata Cherperti Laya Hakuache, the Tampote Bana Taton Shishu on the Kuga Tapunga and Balakanda Hakuache, Nuatelaya, Tangasu Shamtan Yangila, Zuala Sopage, that is Harong Lakanda Kitchen Tegu Meta, Pisha, Samchila, that's to Imba Sonsa, that's the Shine Bana Kolaya, Dania Puchia, Tayana, Zinia, Butawala Sopagane Kutsula, and the Karsukure. Tigi Shuchen Kanda Tegu Meche, and a Sumbatilaya, and the Mima Milaya, and the Tratilanchi data, and the Tratilan Chushi, Zisinta, and the Sochaki, Taponta, Tigu Kolaya, she Trati data, and the Peter was.
I thought it was really good how all of yours tied to your goal. The one piece of feedback you might think about is how are you going to use the survey to teach your students about the difference between plants and animals.
That young Korusu, Mugitan, Dewatapate Payadus, Shandachi and Baina, some Tanguajicares, and a Trotlan Tawala, Mig, some Ritual attended the Picolaya, Kutochia Chihuahua. They are Toptricula, till attended the young Atsuga, Karich Jaya research, or Ticolaya, and some Gudus.
But overall, very good. Thank you for sharing.
Payadus, Chichane Payadus.
Yeah, maybe that group and then that group. The back row is coming in strong.
Ale di ngazu danda joji damya di ninja Korean nutrition. Ti Korean ani ngazu me de karesna ani ninja li chongwe ani jingri kanri legyo me de oti ngazu me de ti ani ngazu chigo de karesna ngazu me ngazu me de pangru ani namjir tang ani dachigera oti chigla jeton che ani ninja kanri rogo ngazu chigo de tin che.
This so chamas.
Ninja mutation. Mutation gari chunga me dejira. Ngasu de tachi de gari lamna mi mo paji pod de chi jwa. Pod jemba sama pa khalo. Tani ni mi tombo dila tombo namje no ka ra ji te. Te thama de gari leb ku ta de cheko tombo dira. Cheko ni ba de ngi kecha ka ra ji shekra. Kecha ka mi tombo dila ji thama de gari lebe tara. Te cheko ni ba de. Cheko sumba de kinga drama jira namje da ke drama gani thama de la gari leb ku ta jwa. O dila tani da ninje do nyam de jere ta.
So their topic is to understand the mutation, and they will do that through activities. You have a line of people standing in one direction, and they will do that activity. Like first is action. You show an action, and then you show that to the next person, and next to the next person. How that changes one through the line.
It's like heredity of those traits.
Yeah. And the second one is they speak. They say some word, and then how that changes over time. And then the third one, they will that include verbal and physical action both, and how they will see how that changes over time.
Excellent.
So through 3 activities.
Awesome. I like how those 3 activities are all related to the idea of mutation. Just a question for my own understanding. Is that to highlight inheritance of mutations, or is that to highlight how mutations start at the DNA level and transfer out to traits? Does that make sense?
Yeah. That and the chesuga jegu simchati ge ne ninjur kola dus deshe jagu yopate pe yago dus roa. Ani tanda itangala ya chirangarang ki shindo yo pachi tikare sena ani tanda ke chorong ke chegu chiorwa 제구티 아니 징가수게 다 mutations 해야돼 시팅 아주가 르지게 준데티로 헤리디테리로 지금 우트체 티게 코르웨 양나 아니 아주 르지라 카스 그랬다 닌주티 거 카티 누구 요레세 거 르지기 줄란 누구 요레세 지고로 테레스 아 더 지와틴 루비기 티스 고르웨 Yeah. They're only thinking about the changes that happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's how it goes from DNA to a trait.
Yeah.
Cool, great. Yeah, that's very good. Both of these are very good. The one, I also try to give like a little bit of feedback just so for as a class we can think about how to make sure that we are all improving our teaching, is think about how you could maybe have different lessons that would highlight different aspects of that. So all of those lessons are sound really fun, and I would love to be in your class. Think about how you could use different activities to highlight different ideas.
The tandagiti some yapudus tandadela ya chia chikars ta ju ta yapu yonga che to samsitis chishigi yenswa tikarsena danga sugul homsen chitku yor dal homsen chikna na ya tripchagi ku joshmasna mampu yorwa rima josh chetaba chonchon mampu yorwa this sambala ya chegu dripain ba na ya chegu chiki ku tripchan de khase uzwa che chegu jenda chiki tripcha jenda chikase uzwa chorwa o tinda du zubai na ya yores.
But I would feel very lucky if I was one of your students.
That chetu ngarangul hotri batila ya ngasone chambu in some guys.
Cool. And let's have our last group go, and then we'll move on.
Tamata sidle ni tanganzo da gama gi lobjin tie gi joji chikwat chadash toljung gi giro se jira and mutation di ganare ani nganzo gi da lobjin tie gi migudi tanda toljung gi giro di gi kemo chi gi tola ini shugeng gare ti gi yoba di shedo yonga gi chedu ani nganzo lobjin di tie yes ani lobjin di ini nganzo chego sum gi duks chigi ini chego tambo di khonjogi ruka gomagi sumana jin tanda mi mambo ji pande si e ko tambo gi dadi thamal le di gro ga chu du ge me di ta chik jira ani ta di tanda nganjo gi kemo no lo la tanda transcription and translation re jira odi ki ngot he gi chi di chi bodi chi ge ani chego ni ba di tanda rizeng wonam siora the mutation ji yong adela tin rizeng wonam le giro du gro rizeng wonam de gi ani rizeng dupcha le giro do rizeng dupcha de gi rizeng wonam le giro stang gro o di ha goya gi chedo pena ngajo pena tambo lagba la khabar dus khe de dera tadi lagba gi ju thu gi erda ine karo chine da giba chima gale gale de ngajo lagba di thebo do di bejo me wa cha mutation ji gi gi che thebo bejo me wa cha ande ta lagba gi khabar juye gi lega de che matu ji cha jora o di ani bejo ji gone te yi tadi tanda ngajo giba ching ne giba jimala ta rezeta andi ti borune thojung gi gyura khe che ora o di ngo thwe chi che ani sumba di tanda thojung gi gyura di ji la jabe to ne ani da nang chue da chering gi porune ta dil ta dang gari yore se che ora o di ta tola ani jinda phanjun la dudur che chik
In kene sonst.
So our lesson plan is to teach on the mutation, which is very similar to the previous group, but we do have like 3 different activities. 2 are totally different. Our educational goal is to understand the effect of mutation on an organism. So that is the educational goal. And the 3 activities, sorry, 3 activities are, the first activity is hand gesture in sequential order. That is the first activities which through we try to understand the effect of mutation in transcription and translation. And the second activities is demonstrating on change in phenotype due to mutation.
Okay.
That is the second activities through which we try to understand
what mutation affects when the genes pass to offspring. And the third is like we want to have a debate among students on difference and similarities between Buddhism and science on mutation.
Awesome, great, thank you. I liked how all three of those were different and highlighted different aspects of your goal, but they all related back to the same goal.
Dada gelage ngoto chiju chechu jego samcha mandra imba kasila ya mugi su ti kala ya dewa chigu yo pati ngosu to butang dus te pe ya songs.
So hopefully this makes sense, this idea of having your educational goals influence or determine what your activities are, as opposed to deciding what activities you want to do and hoping they support your goal.
Dada dirwa de ke chambu chagu res ro nga chu ge tangpu te la ya muyeti sha muyeti la ani te la ten de tang ne nga chu che gu tin da do ten la khe de tang muyeti dra ge che te se ko ro wa te la be ba te ya ko re te ma da ya che gu khashi chi de tang te che gu de ge ta te muyeti dra la ya riwa chi ge yo sen bai na ya te ta ta de ge mar wa te stam ba la ya tangpu muyeti shi sha da tang ne te la ten de tang che gu tem be chi ya chi ko wa o de ya dus.
I'm not a great debater, but I imagine debates are similar, that you have your point that you're trying to prove, and you have different arguments to support your point, as opposed to having a bunch of different arguments and just hoping that you win.
That day, children bana chesu ta regulam choya chigoro dulang chia te chitang chana nga te la ya junga shita mes imbai na ya te rotan te ane tampo joji chig tero ane susu langsho chig sen ne langsho te sen te la ane susu ge ta chig junse mampo chig drang de ta langsho te la ta tan la be ku yorwa ti rwa kun rotan te manda chig ya ke cha kanjo manjo chig she rwa junse ra manda chig drang de ta thama te la ya susu langsho te la ya jap chig yo se ge ne tan te na do marwas.
And I know this sounds very simple, but I've been teaching for 15 or 20 years, and I still do this anytime I make a lesson. So before I did this lesson that we did here, I wrote down what my goals were, and I made sure my activities were supporting my goals.
Ngarang wini bana dus lotrichi de lu chunga ni shite dus imba na ngarang thomsen rere tripi kapsi bana dus centripap de thomsen gi magi kari imba ti tri ani ti drvyala ya ani chego ta chi la sopatina manda sumgi kanda do de la japchi chi du se te tando imba na ya dus junction laglan tarshin yes.
So I highly encourage you to use this as you design your lessons, as you go off and become teachers, to use outcome-based planning to design your lessons. And as a starting, and during today, I encourage you to look for our goals as we're teaching and see if our activities support our goals. So 2 things. I hope you get to use this in the future and watch for it in today's lesson.
Tandanga suge da ku jigndila mipi gi thonchen changko chia chiorwa data che sugla ani kasugar da maung bala susuge thonchen changko chibi kapsa ani de kasugar da pechu ta chigorwa pechu te ta ani te an janta na ne data kanadu chingdu de ga to na chiro chis.
Okay. We're going to move on to our biology topic for the day. Are there any questions about outcome-based planning?
Tandanga suda chingui gil honseng ishi tingu zikiyens ti matsingo la ya ne tandanga sugin jingdi la mi pigil honseng chango chia chiyorwa ti kola draw ayos arwada no la yes la courage horle. They need to say something, right?
Well, Calvin told me to be careful about asking questions because sometimes they would just try to debate me and ask questions for forever. So I'm okay with no questions.
That draw Martina did this. Sansama draw Tambana, trust on lunch, trust on lunch, the time I should check this. Menala and Yandishasta, draw Menala.
Okay. We're going to move on to our biology topic for the day. So I'm going to try to say very clearly what my goals are so that you can see them, but keep those in mind as we're going through the different activities, whether they support the goal or not. Okay, so my goal for the rest of today is What is a cell and why is it important?
That tirang asu dus zenda tistambala ya mugiti kare na thapung kare imbatang thapung ke kechin ranjin ting utu cheyens.
And I will have different activities that support this goal, hopefully.
Ta mugiti dribala ya nga chegun dramda chiyes.
The main topic that we're going to talk about to support this goal is called cell theory.
Ta mugiti dribya gi chetu gi ani ku joji sheta pasu chikare la na thapung ka nam chayens.
Raise your hand if you've already learned about cell theory at some point.
Ani thapung ka nam chak jang chai bana la pa ya charo ches.
Okay, good. So this should be review. Hopefully you get to refresh your understanding and also see how it fits into outcome-based planning.
Dan de chesu chigo bandela ya nga chu ga jerjong chicherwa ani de de nga chu ge ani mugiti ndubya ya ani dewa kandanda uching du te tagiens.
Before we talk about cell theory, I think it's important for us to talk about what a theory is in science.
That thapung ga namjo ten deshe maje ngola ya nga chu chenrik na ne namshak sena kari bate kuch khan ke chemurin dus.
So I'd like you to just, in your tables briefly, just talk about what you think it means to be a theory in science. What does a theory mean in science?
Ta susu go doxig na ne twitter chiro chis doxig susu gang la ro namshak sena khabar de chenrik na la ya namshak sena kari ro is.
Talk for 1 or 2 minutes and then we'll share some ideas.
Kama Chinese grang la ya twitter chiro chis namshak sena kari me.
Does that translate? Does this theory, like, is that something that will translate okay into Tibetan or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We have a specific term for that.
Great.
How you doing? Good? Good. After this, just go over here. Okay.
I don't know how to do this. I sort of know when to move on because I can understand what they're talking about, but you think they need a little more time?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Maybe 1 minute.
Okay, great. Usually I switch like right as like some groups start to talk about something else. Like, as soon as they start to talk about something different, then it's like, then you switch.
Yeah.
Did you try those like salty candy things, like the green salty ones?
No.
I'm okay for that.
Go on. Where are they?
They were giving them out at the place where Anna was trying to get her her dragon thing. You might have one. They're weird.
We'll go back.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's bring it back in.
Yeah, that nyamtin das.
It doesn't need to be by table, just any individual. You can just share what your group thought or what you thought. What does a theory mean in science? Because at least in English, the common use of the word theory is very different than the scientific use of the word theory, and I want to make sure that we all understand that.
That and I manage to Susu Gonsin and Gudo, Yamana Chesuda, Ruko Gonsin by Narwa, Namsha said the any Kare Menticolaya and Judiciarochis, the Namjin by Na, Inchigan theories and Namsha said City Pechiton Stambalaya, Namjing Pechitan Titayan, Sendikan Namsha said theories of Pechitan Chigorwa, then Chagayan Guatis Mandoyores.
Okay, so if there's somebody that could just share what you thought or what your team thought a theory means in science, just stand up and share that with the group.
Namshasana Kares, the Gonsa Sononas. Yeah, sure.
so ruga ki ta namsha se ya dire sha ta
롱주시 냐당긴 제시지 임바치라 디야 데시디 컨디스 돔기야 세와이나 친리기 탑랑요 단다 도시치라 된 단다 하이포테시스 최샤딜라 된 테스트 제네로 준비 된디 때라 퍼션 저기다 남샤 강야로 치라 친리기 남샤라 도스
In case
So our group the scientific theory is an explanation of aspect of natural world by using scientific method, first by observation, then we hypothesize it, and then later we test whether that support or disprove that one. So due to this, we make a conclusion that is called theory, scientific theory. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. I saw a hand here, I think.
Yeah, same.
Same? Okay. Does anybody want to add on to that?
제가 아틀레 가는 자니
Really
왜
good start.
sabse 식발에 도와.
ngaso da ndo do ngaso ja cheri ke da ngopo cheta mama bo ji yoro atina ge ngopo cheta ba ji ki ane tala ngoyo ne chale yo be dendo le ko panta da ane pela so ba ke tindi ki jerom ke tone tala pe ja ki ta nabja sana ta ti ki jerom jila ane karsa cheri ke nabja si
Jurum roa. Yeah, pretty much same, but it's a specific topic, specific about the specific topic or specific phenomena through all the testing and verification and proving. They think also the theory is, in that sense, looks like a process.
Yes, that's a good clarification. Theories are generally an explanation of how something works. So it's, I like that you all use the idea that it explains a natural phenomena. That's spot on. That it's verified through tests and experimentation, and that it's verified through multiple and repeated tests and experimentation. And it's generally an explanation of how something works.
남샤 세디 천리그나 내제 바인바나 지금 답디우 강세 바나 뉴부치 바나 따치 낭수치 바나 쿠칸다스 종고요레사 지거와 티코근 레세치그레스 다 치순델라야 지금 배치 당당가 내가 주가 낭수치 근레세레세로다 아니 코가 댐판타 딱셀라텐데 따라토치구 세다 아니 코 딱세테 치지나드고 말와 양세 치구 로아 딱세데 오 데타카네 코게 단다 남샤 세게 데세테 딱딱치기요레스.
So Miguel, you should feel free to add in, but and I didn't look this up. I'm wishing I had, but I would say that the two key characteristics of a scientific theory are it explains how something works, and it has been repeatedly verified many times.
ni ta tsha ke chembo re sam tsha ni ta pe ke chembo re sam gu swa tamputi ka re sana kho gi ane chi jangwe gi ta chi nangsu sna digre netun chi lan desi jago pa chi che desi jago pa thyan kho ta takshep ti thama pe mangpo chi de tang ra chi ya chi la ya imba ching gu yo res.
Anything you want to add about theory?
Nope. Pretty much spot on.
Great. So when we talk about cell theory, we're talking about how something works. So we're talking about basically about how life works and how cells are involved in how life works. And it's been repeated, it's been verified many times.
Leka kandar dauchi ge me ko anitan kandar dom chi ti desi jagores ta tanda dela desi jage tapang nam sa te ko ta takse te tha ta mampo chi le ji de ta tembe jures.
The first part of cell theory that we're going to talk about, there are two parts. The first part that we'll talk about is cells are the basic unit of life.
Ta tapang nam sa kana la ya ko ge ta tupcha masna ni gores tangpote ka re sena ani tsisuk jisa ge tupcha ti tapong re se deres.
This is a really big deal because it means everything that is alive is made up of cells.
Ta te ko ke chembu chago karchila paina ko ta jinde imbaina roa jinde imbaina ane cha ma te thapung ko bares.
Nowhere that we've looked as scientists have we found anything that we think is alive and is not made of cells.
Ta chairu pazu khusu takse chi bala ya jinde imba kanchila ya thapung ko matu patinda ta tanda bad nyeyo mares.
So in terms of why cells are important, this is why cells are important.
Tarwa thapong karchine ke chembure se te junsen de la ten de ta thapong ke chembu chagi ores.
But before we get into all living things are made of cells, let's make sure we all are on the same page about what it actually means to be alive. So yeah.
Ane tanda ke ta chi ka sa jiden sama thapong ko tribre se te mandu ngo la ya nga su ge ta inchi alive se gorwa tan de sama chicken.
So I'm going to show a bunch of pictures up on the screen to go like this. If they're alive, go like this. If they're not alive, go like this if you have some different opinion.
Rwa tan da de ge tang ye chula de per kha chi tangi ins rwa ta ko de ta kha so alive la na nga su sombu se gro sombu rwa sombu imba imba na dos che memba imba na dos che mangi ba ba na thela tan ro che per kha chi tangi ins.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, pretty easy. Nobody's going to try to out-debate me with something sideways. Okay. This one. Okay, all right.
Good.
Okay. Okay. You think sideways, why?
Nda de sha haku mundula gorwa karchine sa.
It's okay.
Sombu,
Yeah, I would love to know.
sombu da sombu. That's it. It's because of the term that we use in Tibetan, like.
Like sentient.
Sentient?
Yang ini sensasi segi omar de sombu la sarwa sombu, roa. Yang sukden se omar wa. Remember.
This is good. So we will, after this, we'll go over what it means in science to be alive. We'll go over the requirements. And it might be slightly different than Buddhist texts, and that's okay.
Roa, tanda de la ya ani inci kita ceri pingin ngune sombu se de life se sombu se de kanda yemende desi jagins cici bayna tin desi jata de nachu desi jata ta yang mandao insigris.
Yeah, so thank you for the sideways. I like this.
This
That's where things are fun. How about these ones? What are these?
Mushroom.
Nice. Okay, for this one, I'm referring to this crusty stuff on the rock, not the rock itself.
Do my bache do gon la ya chingdua. There is.
Okay.
So we have a thumbs down.
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. So you think it's not alive? Great. This is called. Well, what do you all know what this is called? Lichen. Yeah, lichen. Lichen is actually really cool. It's actually a combination of two different organisms at once that live together in symbiosis.
Ta lichen se de nga su de khashi de do tra la lag do ro wa. Ibana de ko yan sam bu chi go res kashila baina ko ga na la ya chin den ni ti nyam te ani nyam to ko ga na ni go res.
Yeah, it is alive. Yes. This one. Alive or not alive? Okay, yeah, probably was alive at one point, but not alive right now.
Ro chi china ngonche chi la ya sombu imbakas la ta tanda ko sombu maro wa.
How about this one? This is the... Okay. Okay, we got some sideways. Okay, great. How about this one?
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Yeah, good. I like the sideways. I think you could... Well, this is generally going to be considered not alive, but there are some scientists that would make a case that you could treat this like a living organism.
That's checking by now ko the sombu maro in by na ya echi kasaya the koron ya chi sombu in bag tinda do la ya jinsen da ya khachi yung go res.
The traditional perspective is that it's
one of them.
Yeah. The traditional definition is going to be this is technically not alive, but when we go over the requirements, you might see why some people think it is alive.
That's checking by na ko chitang ge sojing tatsu by na ko sombu tsigi yo maris in by na khachi ki yang ko sombu res ge jinsen dang yo res tate inu ge jinsen te nga su ge da ya ma ola de se khachi ja gare tini che su thong res.
Okay. So, what does it mean in terms of science to be alive? In biology, how does biology define life?
Da chingi chari ta seta chingi chari ka gane ne swambu sadik kandas de se jagres khula kari changu yo res.
First, you need to be able to grow.
Tambo de kora jitsar gu re chart gu yo res.
And this can either be at a big level like this or a microscopic level.
Da chiko jitsar chi atirwa charchi chi ati imbaina ya kundina do chi chembu gane nan ko re yang ko trawi ni lai nan ko res.
need to be able to reproduce. And again, this is either at a big level or at the microscopic level.
다 니바데 칼라나 코게 지페직 쿠요레스 코르게다 티 준저티 tent kuguores the day by now ko jachisane tanadikre and travikin rimbalatana decores.
When I first taught in Sarah a couple of years ago, someone raised their hand and said, "So monks are not alive?"
Ngoma chulu khashinga la ya Sarah la ya duslon centribi kaps and michikila paya changde tane kushu samba sombo marwe zekejet sans.
And the reason that you are obviously certainly alive, one is you have the ability to reproduce, and also if you look at the microscopic level, your cells are reproducing all of the time.
That samlo yapotang by net and the day la yang asu chipechi thmati keche stambale tupig nuba dama de la keche shegu yores ra and it's so yang trapong gambala du sta by bana asu trapong de katim bana ko ge chipechi tan chishmares.
And the last one that we'll talk about is doing some type of functional activity, and that's generally to maintain balance.
Tangyum ge nebab tinyar sakya ge chete ko ge cheleri ge tangdawa ge ani che guduya chi yorwa otadug yores.
And again, this can be activity at the macroscopic level, like running or walking or drinking tea, or sweating like Europeans in India. Or it can be something at the microscopic level where you're maintaining balance in your cells.
That day yang asu tangyum ge nebati tangzan che bana yang asu chi ta rapi nikabla yang asu cha thanda utan duanda utan simusia chi yorwa ta sut zupudin thang da che ta otina do ula kuna de kore yang thabi nikala yang bana asu ge thapong na ne ne kasugre ta thapong na ne ku tangyum te jinjin chi yarwa thapong ne bola otina kuna de kores.
So when we look at the life all across the planet, these are the similar characteristics that we see. And we have found this in an extremely diverse range of places. So whether we look at things that grow at the bottom of the ocean, at the top of mountains, or in boiling pots of pools of water, all of them are made of cells. Can you all see okay if I stand here, or am I in the way of the screen? You can see? Okay. So all life has cells in it. We have not found any counterexamples into that. If you disagree with that or you find a different example, you should write a paper about it and you'll be famous. So everywhere we've looked, cells are the basic unit of life. We've found no exceptions. Okay, so what are some common traits of cells? There are many different types of cells, but they have some very similar characteristics as well. All cells have some type of genetic material, either DNA or RNA. They all have what's called cytoplasm, which is basically a liquid, blanking on the word, but like a layer, like liquid membrane, not membrane, a liquid material.
The medium.
Medium, thank you. Liquid medium inside the cell. They all have some type of boundary. It's kind of like an inside and outside to the life.
aha da ko che sho de ge da chi che da nan ji ge in sam chi sa tres
And they all have a way to make proteins.
aha dem se ko so la ya tzi zo sa ge chi yo res
And we'll talk about this more in depth in future days.
aha da mao bi ni ma kha china la nga sun de ko la ya ta ju du se shi ja ge yes
So even though all things are made of cells, they can be very, very different. Some of them are going to be unicellular, which means they're made up of one cell, and that's it. They're a living, they're a self-contained organism of one cell, or they can be multicellular, where it's many cells living together in cooperation.
aha da nga so ge chi de la ya chi den sama tha phung ko ba re se ko yo re si tin bai na ya nga so ge de la ya chi bai ma na tha phung chi den che tha phung chi den system ba la ya jingwe de tha phung kan chi ge ba che ani tha phung mang den se chi yo re tha phung mang den system ba la ya tha phung mang bu kan mang bu chi ki ba kan chi la ya nyam re ga na le ka chi jingwe de chi den de ba chi go re
Some examples of cells that are self-contained organisms are up here. These are complicated ones that have lots of different things inside of their cells, or they can be very simple, like bacteria, like this.
aha da nga so ge tha phung chi den ba na tha phung chi den ge ji che chu de dus ka sa pe sen de dus den sha yos khashi ba na tha phung kan chi ge tpa kan chi la ya ko na lo la ya te che pe de ana so pa nyong zang den da yo ni yo res shenda in ba ne tab de de pha so den de do simbu do bacteria wa simbu to in ba na ko ya tpcha de tab de na yo res
There are generally 3 types of multicellular organisms, and they are plants, animals, and fungi.
aha da nga so la ya tha phung mang den ba na tha phung mang den de la ya ko yo ma so sim yo res chi de zi xin jie nyo de so cha jie ani sba de fungi nga so ham pu ri chi ro ta res
Just a little history on cell theory. Oftentimes, in order to make a discovery, it depends on technology, an advancement in technology.
aha da chitang ba nga so ge chingwi ta dewe ge sernye tin da do chong ba shisha sawa tin da sernye chong ate man chi shin do nga so thrigi yo ro thrchi da thrigla tengi yo res
The advancement in technology that let us start to create cell theory was advancements in microscopes.
aha da dina do la ten de nga so la ya tha phong ge namja te ko ten la be ba la ya ro pa chi chi ka re la na nga so la ya chi she chu ra tha thong chi she te ya ji tu al ten res
In just a little bit, we're going to be using microscopes at your tables, and you're going to be using those to do some of your own exploration around cell theory.
aha de chila nga so ge an su su ru ka ngo ne de tha thong chi she te pe chi tang res ta te su te ka la na ani su su ngo ne ani tha phong ga nam ja tang ko la ya ani tok shi chi ya chi ro wa de yens
Oh, sorry, I should put the Tibetan up there.
no
Cells were first observed in the 1600s. That was when we first started to understand that living things were made of cells. And it was because this guy, Leeuwenhoek, first had lenses to make the first early microscope so he could see small things.
aha da te tang pu tha phong de ko nga so tha thong chi she o le ta de chi tong tu ja tu chi re nga glo la ya luona hook se khurang ta res ta khurang ge nga so ge tang she tin da do tang she tin da do ju ji de te tha phong chwa ri de ta yo res
Okay. And this has been confirmed repeatedly over the, well, that math doesn't work up, but it's been repeatedly confirmed since then.
aha da tin is on de ta ane ko ta chi ge cher du yang di gu ne ane tha phong ga nam jang de tan la phe yo res
Okay. Enough of me talking. It's time for you to do some learning. So we're going to have you all look at some things that are very common in your world and get to observe how those are made of cells.
aha da dan da nga su ka ching se na chi nga su ge ta chi chu se ko ro da nga su de sa la ya thamong te ye pa ani shangu khang shi la ta ani ti ta remote ya de du chi gens
So what we're going to do is we're going to get microscopes out on the table, and you're going to practice what are called scientific drawings in your notebook of the observations that are underneath your microscope.
아, 다다나 가서 가르치기 있으나 가서 차통 치세대 수수 독세 가샤 되대 아니 디나텔 다야티 지그레스다 티캅스 수드가라나 나 첸리키 리무드레스 거와다 첸리키 리무드리아다 티케치무차 거티티 치수게 차통 치세 오라야 까리 통고도 어티두스 리무드리아레스.
Raise your hand if you're familiar with the 5 E's of pedagogy, the 5E teaching strategy.
이 ngaden게 lonsen tetap chiwa 어디 신규 반을 라바야 자르치스 딜라 주요 반을 라바야 자르치스.
Yes. So this would probably fall into the elaborate section of the 5 E's. We've kind of gone over the explain part where I've explained the cell theory. Now it's going to be you all elaborating and exploring. Well, we don't want to use explore because that's a different one. But elaborating on this on your own.
다다다데 가수게 드비아디로 와르무드리아트조 가게가 콩아토코레 세나 가수게 지셰요 지셰.
And hopefully this
지셰 올라 토코레스 땅 가수게 강라야 데셰티다 자바르와스 다 지셰티 치알라야 니 수수군네 드브데타 티콜라야 타 지우치시아 지고레스.
And we're doing this to support that goal of what is a cell and why is it important.
다다나 가수 카르체레 세나티 this drag jinse karesena ngasu de drip dete tangpo de la ngasu ge thapon de karsine ke chembure se ga mugi chiwa o ti gala ya ani drip chiala phent ko yores.
So what I would like you to draw in your notebooks, you're going to be looking at 3 samples. For each sample, I want you to label what it is, draw what you see, label key features, and record what magnification you're using.
Tanda de la ya chisuge 타톤 치셰오네 다코 다사테 만도 숨라타그레스 레레레레 라 체수근 데터트로치 스tam보텔라야 르몰라야 민샹트고레 카리 예밍기 카사치고로 카리라타그 요메테트고요레스 아니 니바텔라야 카리 통화테르모나 트고요레스 카리 통화테르모 트고레 또 리모트 누구 제라야 텔라야 체취 케체모 카리 카리 칭도 드즈그 미앙트로치스로아 다트체 카리 카리 임바데 아니 팀체 아니 초는가 리모트 리뷰 값스 아니 아자카츠치 치르탄샤 로아 magnification se gora ja chir tang de ta go yarwa ka chu chi chir tang se de tro chis.
Some key features to watch for are the common features of all cells. So if you can draw the membrane, the DNA in the nucleus, the cytoplasm, you probably will not be able to see ribosomes. But if you could draw any of the key, the common features between cells, that would be good practice for you.
That de kaps ko chechu kechembu khasir mission research gora de baina tapong ko chimure ane DNA re tene ngasuge de ora tsi orwa ane senda rabotize ta sichina thondo kho mare sim baina ya de ta ta thamon tio pi chechu kechembu chorwa de ta mara trithna de kores.
Okay. The 3 samples that we're going to work with are the onion slices, the cheek swab, which I think you've probably done both of those before. But the last one, which might be different, is I brought some slices of mouse brains, and you can look at those as well.
Anybody by now, soon Dambagan alone and in Dapondus Land Chitachorua. Then you set it to Manchu Omala, dream yours, then such a somebody then Asugi, Tzigalepa or Tzigalepa do Sukusuga slide Zusha Jutina yours, or Telayana Kuchikan the death tie-ins.
Okay. I think these are a particularly interesting one because one is food that we need to survive, so there's cells in the food that we need to survive. The others are cells that make us us. And the other is the cells that allow our thinking mind to work. So all of the things that we rely on in a very day-to-day factor are all made of cells. And so I think it could be really fun to explore that under a microscope.
Damana susu tapatrwa ne sambati bana tanga su chigita samlu tanga ta chesu che ta sama su lepala tengorwa ne lepi tapontin stambala and chu sumchati ani ko karsagurta ke chembu bakasla de tak tupcha ta chechu karim bate ta te ke chamuchak dus.
Okay. I will leave this up on the board so you can refer back to what you're supposed to do while we're working.
Ta de du sha sha ge ne che su ge ya ta shin ji shin na ro chis.
How comfortable are folks using microscopes? Should we go over how to use them, or do you think people are pretty comfortable using microscopes?
Ta ton chi she pe she abu tan sing ro. Gilam ngutu nang go ser kana ro insare. I'm just asking them.
Okay.
Are all of you comfortable using a microscope? We'll be walking around to help you, but are you comfortable? Yes. Perfect.
Great. Okay.
We'll help them. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So each table will have 2 microscopes, and we'll have the once the microscopes are at tables, we'll set up all the stations so that people can get their slides and bring them back to their table.
Right, and doctor re ga la ya te thaton chi she ni sha yes ro. Ani dus landu je la ya ani phaju de la ya chi chu la ya da zo ya chi ro dan thaton chi she la ta chi ro. Wa du dus kuto chi yes.
Okay. So let's have each table grab 2 microscopes, and then we will start setting up the stations so that you can take your slides back to your tables.
Aha da din se re ga ne mi chi pe ga ni pe ga chi she ni lan ro chis. Ne ti je la ya ne ge la ge che su ta sa chi ro wa. Te phke ne ta ri chi gen ne ti je la lan ro chis.
Did they bring the onions? Do you know?
I don't know. I thought I saw them, but maybe not. If not, I bet we could just run down to the kitchen and grab one.
Ale de la lo me do wa.
I can go quickly.
They
Check,
where did
I think I saw?
microscope this.
Maybe on the back.
Kashi
Is one
Mars.
on the table somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, this microscope, yeah, with
Okay.
natural light, but the other one a little more advanced.
Okay.
It's electricity supply.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, how can we do that? Are there outlets? Is there a way? Oh, sorry. Take this off. I don't know. Maybe you could. Where's the fancy one?
Oh, the fancy one.
Over there. Okay. Maybe they. Oh, they have both of them. I wonder if they could just set up over by the.
Yeah, this
They could just. Yeah. Yeah. Well. For this one, you can just, you might have to set it up by an outlet, because I think this one needs an outlet. Yes.